Welcome today to Homage to Joseph Henry Sharp. Every year we pick a Taos founder and ask our artists to do something inspirational from his career or their careers. Hopefully we'll get to a lot of them as we go along here. But it's been interesting to see the journey and development of all of our artists and experimentation in doing something they're not really familiar with in some respects. Today we're interviewing artist extraordinaire Doug West. And Doug is known mostly for his landscapes. So when we asked him to do a show on Joseph Henry Sharp, it was interesting to see what he came up with. I really like the painting, Doug. Welcome.
Thanks, Leroy. Yeah, my head was spinning for a while. What the heck am I going to do? Because I looked at many examples of Joseph Henry Sharp's paintings that were, available online, a lot of them, and I couldn't see anything that was particularly evocative for me in the landscapes that I could riff off of, and then the rest were paintings of Native Americans, which really, a lot of his career, the success of his career was based upon that. I, read that I think it was the wife of William Randolph Hearst bought 70 or 80 of his paintings, and President Theodore Roosevelt also bought a large bunch. And I thought, well, Native Americans, I'm not going to paint that. So it seemed natural to draw a portrait, but with a theme of Taos in the background, but this, is far afield from anything I've ever done.
That's interesting, because when I look at that painting in particular, the sky is very Doug West Southwest style. The sagebrush is definitely Southwest style, but those hills look a little more like South Dakota hills in the background. And yeah.
Well, that's El Salto. I mean, that's...
It is, but you could also...
But Leroy, the brush strokes that I put into that is probably the closest that I came to mimicking what I saw as sort of background to portrait stuff that he did.
So what did you learn about Joseph Henry Sharp that's interesting? What did you learn?
Well, I did read Wikipedia and a few other things. I have a book that I bought years ago. Where did I get it? Gerald Peters.
Yes.
It's published about Taos founders. And so
yes.
There's a short blurb there. I didn't realize that he was so formally trained and studied in Europe, and really that he was responsible for bringing out Blumenschein and the key core group of artists, and then I guess in league with Krauss, who I think was already living in Taos. But I think that Joseph Henry Sharp really was the person who organized that group of artists. I may be wrong. Maybe it was just a collective.
It seemed like he had a great influence. I always thought of him as an artist that painted mostly Taos Pueblo figurative. And but if you start learning about him, he was really influenced by the Plains Indians.
Initially I think that he was commissioned to go out to, I don't know if it was South Dakota or one of the reservations. And this is from New York City, where I think he was teaching art. And he went out there and lived for at least a year.
Yeah.
And his charge was to document the Native Americans there.
Yeah, he painted all the war veterans from that battle with Custer. Yeah. And he did well. The other thing that was unique about him is he was deaf. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Since he was 12 years old.
Actually, I do remember reading something about that, come to think of it.
Yeah, at 12 years old, he had a water accident and almost drowned. His mom rolled him over a barrel and pumped all the water out, but he had significant ear damage on both ears and was deaf the rest of his life. He could talk, and he's always saying, "Am I talking too loud?" Because he couldn't tell how much voice he was giving. But
he could read lips.
He could read lips, and usually carried a note paper or a piece of paper with him and write for people sometimes, and that's how he would communicate. But very interesting man. So you have done a portrait of him, probably what, in his 60s, 70s. It looks like that. Maybe
The image of him. No, I think this was kind of my foundation for working, and this is generally what I painted, except that I put the hat on because he's often seen with hats.
With the hat,
including this image,
right?
And then I made his eyes looking at the viewer instead of kind of like here off at a distance.
Well, that's pretty impressive, Doug. I wouldn't put anything past you in your career. You've done some amazing things, but to go from landscape to portraiture, when was the last time you did a portrait of anybody?
Leroy, this is it.
I figured that.
I was talking with Denise this morning, and she was saying that she hoped that I'd enjoyed this as sort of a creative thing out of my norm, which it certainly was. It was a learning for me. I use photographs a lot in my paintings as a reference. And I said to her, sometimes I can have a photograph, and the more time I spend with it, like a meditation, the deeper I go into the subtleties of that photograph, and it becomes like a roadmap for me. And so that's been my process with this. And I can tell you, at one point this ear was over here. And when I first roughed the painting, and artist, my girlfriend, looked at it, and it was before the hat was on, and maybe the beard wasn't painted in yet. And she said, "That looks like Mike Pence."
Oh, nice.
it definitely has gone through an evolution, and it was creatively a lot of fun for me. I probably could have painted a 40 by 60 landscape
in the same amount of time.
The amount of time with this, but really for artists, stretching in a new direction was a lot of fun. I thought, well, if a person asked me to paint a portrait, I think I could do it.
Oh, then you know what? I don't doubt anything about you. In your career, it's a genius. You're a genius.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm willing to take risks, and you see by how I work, I really work it until I get down to fine detail with a microscope. Not really, but I want.
What I like too is that you both lived in Taos, and you both loved the light and the landscape, even though most of his scenes were figurative Native people. But great job.
For all of the Taos founders, that was the magic. It was the magic of the place, the Native American culture that was there mixed with the Spanish, but an incredible, beautiful setting, and at 7,000 foot elevation, a magical light. Yeah.
Well, thank you for spending time with us today, Doug, and sharing your experience. And we're looking forward to having that beautiful painting and with a nice red dot on it.
I'm shipping it out tomorrow, Leroy.
Right on. Take care, Doug. Nice talking to you.
Leroy. Bye, Leah.